What's going on, guys? You're with Artie Tech, and welcome back to the Pokemon Renegade Platinum Nuzlocke run. Last episode, things didn't go great. I thought it was going to be a pretty chill episode, and I was wrong. We ended up losing two Pokemon in the last episode. Our brand new Kabutops named Snickers, and Idle, our Gastrodon. Idle is the much worse of the two Pokemon to lose there because we really needed a water type. That was our only water type. We have another ground backup, but we lost the water, which is horrible. I did just realize, though, we can actually catch a brand new Pokemon right here on Route 209. So let's start the episode off with a Snubbull. Okay. I'm actually okay with this because in this game, Snubbull should be Fairy type. So it should live a Mach Punch. Nice, okay. I'm also weak to Fairy. Right, okay, so that, you guys could, I like that you guys could just watch my thought process of me trying to figure out, like, oh, that was probably a bad idea. Leaving that fighting type in against the Fairy type. Moving on though, we had a bad past episode, unfortunately, but I thought it was going to be much better than it actually was. And today we're hoping to move forward. I was told, and I double-checked, we do not thankfully have any... No! We do not have any Snubbulls to catch today. Right. Okay. Never mind. We do not have any more boss battles, if you want to consider them that, until we get to the Veilstone Gym. We obviously have trainers. They're going to be difficult trainers, but we are a little higher level than all the trainers we'll be encountering on the next route or two, so we should thankfully have a chill episode, and I'm very appreciative of that because you guys may have noticed if you're watching this as the series is uploaded. If you're not watching it as it's uploaded and you're in like the year 2020 or 2021, say hi if you're coming from 2021, specifically July 2021. If somebody is watching this in July 2021, shout out to you. You're probably an awesome dude. That's all I gotta say. Do you not want to battle me? Hello? Wait, what? What is this guy's story? Well, do you jog every morning? Well, I do. Oh. I'm just not used to people, like, existing in the world that don't want to constantly bring me pain and suffering. Thank you, I suppose. Anyways, so you guys may have noticed that we did not have uploads over the past few days. We had a small gap over the weekend, and the reason for that is because I was actually at the Pokemon World Championships in Washington, D.C. this past weekend for 2019. I was not competing in the main event, the World Championships itself. I was competing in the DC Open, which is basically like a regional level tournament for Pokemon. For basically anyone who wants to go who didn't qualify for Worlds, they can, still play, thankfully. So I do a little bit of competitive TCG. I actually... Wait, what did I do? What did I do? Okay. I just realized I used Discharge, which hits everybody. Thankfully, I am a Dragon type, and I resist that. But wow. That was almost really bad. I don't know why I did Discharge. It's because I didn't want to waste my Tri-Attacks, apparently. I went to the as I was saying, I went to the Pokemon Worlds TCG. I competed in the DC Open. The last big tournament I competed in trading cards was I went to the 2017 regional tournament in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, or just outside Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and that was like the first really ever like competitive Pokemon I ever did, aside from like small little tournaments at like a local shop nearby. And I thought I did okay there. I played a Zygarde deck. By the way, I'm going to be talking a fair bit about TCG today. So if you guys aren't familiar with the TCG for Pokemon, the trading card game, I'll try to explain it as best as I can as we go forward. But I played a Zygarde deck, and I don't really have any connection to Zygarde as far as like the video games go, but apparently I love me some Zygarde. Zygarde easily became my favorite deck to go play as when it came to the TCG. It was just a very fun deck. It was never like a big, super popular deck, but it was always more of like a rogue deck, which for for those like unaware with like trading card games and stuff, it's like it's a decent deck, but nobody necessarily plays it. And I just liked it. It was fun. I really don't like playing like the big top meta decks. Like I don't know if it's just like a tiny little bit of hipster in me or whatever, but I really like playing more things that you don't see very often, that you don't see every time you turn on a tournament stream and you see somebody playing, and it's like the same. Right now, it's really the same 4 to 5 decks you see non-stop, with very little variation. Every now and then you get a new surprise deck that comes in, but they never stick around too much. The surprise decks do well because no one's expecting it, but then people figure out very quickly how to counter it, and the deck unfortunately just kind of dies. So I always like playing these little side decks, and this time I went to the DC Open and I actually played a deck with starring this Pokemon right here, Breloom. I played a deck all based around Breloom, and of all Pokemon, Mareep. Not Flaffy, not Ampharos, Mareep. And I really liked, I really love Ampharos. I wanted to build an Ampharos deck back when the Ampharos GX card was announced. And unfortunately, I just couldn't get it working because evolving decks, especially evolving to like a 2-stage line into Pokemon TCG, is very not working right now. Unfortunately, it's not the most effective deck because the big thing into Pokemon TCG right now are GX Pokemon, and specifically Tag Team GX Pokemon. They've started releasing cards where 2 Pokemon team up together. The first one ever announced was Pikachu and Zekrom. Then we have basically the big ones right now are Pikachu and Zekrom, Charizard and Reshiram, Mew and Mewtwo. Are like the big 3 right now as far as the competitive scene, but there are several other ones as well, and those are just basic Pokemon, so you don't have to evolve up. So even though like Charizard is a stage 2 Pokemon, you know, it evolves from Charmander and Charmeleon, you can just play down Charizard and Reshiram on your first turn and start the game with a Pokemon with 270 HP. In comparison, my Breloom, who I obviously have to evolve from a Shroomish because he's not special, only has 120 HP. So consider the fact that I was going 120 HP evolving Pokemon up against people who start with like 270, 240 HP basic Pokemon they could just start in their first turn. It's obviously a slight mismatch, unfortunately, and that's okay because I really thought the deck could do well. Arguably considered the best deck in the game right now is a deck about Pikachu and Zekrom, which I mentioned earlier, which is an electric type. Breloom is a fighting type, and Breloom has a cool attack where if your opponent is asleep, you hit for 120 damage, which is super effective against Pikachu and Zekrom, meaning it hits for 240 damage, and guess how much HP Pikachu and Zekrom has? 240. So, in theory, Breloom is a perfect counter to Pikachu and Zekrom. It hits exactly the amount of damage you need to take it out. It's a beautiful little wonderful world we live in here. The problem is, another one of the big decks I mentioned is Reshiram and Charizard, commonly referred to as Reshizard. Well, they're a fire type, and Breloom is weak to Psychic, but it's also just completely destroyed by Reshizard because Charizard and Reshiram do 230 damage, which is slightly higher than my 120 HP that I had. But the tech for that we ended up coming up with, and that is a pretty common tech for this deck, and we'll go back to Pokemon Tower in just a moment. Whoa, you better not be battling me. No, you wouldn't battle me again. Wait, I'll show you as a special favor. What's this all about? I got some seals, but I forgot to put them on. Oh, okay. That's fine. So, what do you partner with a Breloom to help take on a fire type? Frostlass, of all things, of course. So my little deck of Breloom and Frostlass was matched up against like Charizard and Reshiram and Mew and Mewtwo and Zekrom and Pikachu, and yeah, there's a small discrepancy there. Also, I don't remember, you get an egg here, right? I don't remember who gives you the egg. I crazy for thinking that? That somebody here gives you an egg? I don't think I'm crazy. I don't know. But Frostlass is a cool Pokemon where for 1 energy, is this still 209? Let me double check. Make sure I'm not missing out a Pokemon. Yeah, this is still 209. Where for 1 energy, it can put as many damage counters as it wants on itself. And for each damage counter it puts on itself, you do 20 damage to the opposing Pokemon. So you can put up to 7 damage counters on yourself, which means you can do up to 140 damage. Well, Charizard and Reshiram are weak to water, which Frostlass is a water type in a TCG. So, if you put 7 damage counters on yourself, you're doing 280 damage to Charizard and Reshiram for 1 energy attachment. So, in theory, this deck kind of counters like all the perfect things. Hold on, I think I might have just lost audio on my microphone. Okay, so I thought my microphone may have gone unplugged. It was actually just the mouse on my computer, so I apologize about that little breach in editing there. But yeah, so in this weird world of Pokemon TCG, my team is made up of Frostlass, Breloom, and I mentioned earlier Mareep. Mareep actually has an ability that once during your turn, when Mareep is your active Pokemon, you may put your opponent to sleep, which means you can then catch a Haunter. Alright, I'm happy with a Haunter. That's a good catch. I think that's a good addition to our team. If we catch it, of course. That is also the small problem. But once per turn, you may use Mareep to put your opponent to sleep, which means Breloom can use its attack, where if your opponent is asleep, its attack does 120 damage. So, oh, you son of a bitch! Okay, that didn't kill, but we are now on a very, very strict timer as far as catching this thing, because at any moment it's just gonna curse. Oh no! All right, so we got to switch out now. Please don't curse. That's all I can ask. Is please don't curse. Don't say swears. Okay. Thank you. I actually don't remember if they can curse if they're under half HP. I'm pretty sure you still can. I think it does like up to half HP, right? Whatever, Shadow Ball, Eric can take those for days. Just don't curse. So Mareep, Breloom, and Frostlass was my big... Wait, what? Was that Sucker Punch or Shadow Punch? Because if that was Sucker Punch, that shouldn't have worked. Okay, well, I'm just a ragtag confused boy right now because this Haunter does not want to be caught. Oh, come on, man. It ain't gotta be that way. Do I have a status move? No, I don't. Oh, I got a Leech. I can't risk Leech Seed. I really want to catch this Haunter. Alright, we'll get back to our Pokemon TCG story in just a second. Shadow Ball is doing a little bit of damage now, making me start to feel slightly uncomfortable. Let's see if Snout can do any better for us. Luckily, he hasn't tried to curse yet. I still don't know if he can or not. I know we're going to find out any second. Oh, no, we're not. We're not going to find out because we now have a Haunter on the team. I'm very happy with that. Haunter's a good Pokemon, and we're going to go back with a throwback name to the good old days, and we're going to call this thing Beans. Beans the Haunter returns. Might have been, yeah, I'm pretty sure he reached Haunter state when I had the Ghastly. So I have a lot of beat up Pokemon there, so before we keep going through the Pokemon Mansion, actually I think I would have liked Duskull more. We're going to go heal up real quick. So, as you can imagine, my team, my TCG team, with Breloom and Frostlass and Mareep doesn't sound that intimidating, but it actually had a really good matchup against a lot of the very popular decks there. The big decks were Pikachu and Zekrom, Reshiram and Charizard, Blacephalon, the Ultra Beast has its own very popular deck, and then there's a whole variation of decks involving Malamar. Malamar is, I don't even think arguably the best support Pokemon in the trading card game right now. Yes, Malamar of all things. It is very weird that you got all these like legendary Pokemon, and Malamar of all things is the best support Pokemon in the entire format right now. But Malamar allows you to, once per your turn, you may put a Psychic Energy from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. So if you have, say, 3 Malamars out plus an energy in your hand, you can essentially attach 4 Psychic Energies to a Pokemon on your bench every single turn, which is just ridiculous at acceleration. So anything that can attack with Psychic Energy right now is really just kind of ruling the format, which is unfortunate for me because my Breloom does have a Psychic weakness. So it's been very unfortunate that arguably one of the most powerful decks in the entire format really just kind of destroys Breloom. But we did a lot of testing because my good friend Electrify is here visiting me for the next week. He went to Worlds with me. We actually host a podcast together, by the way. If you guys don't know, it is on a little hiatus right now, but it is called a Victory Star. I'll leave a link to that down in the description. You should go check it out because the newest episode should be up very, very soon about our experience at Worlds. You're a fairy type now. Uh-oh. Okay, well, that's our sign to get the heck out of there. I keep forgetting that all these Pokemon became fairy types now. That's what's messing with me. But we'll use this Skitty to Drain Punch the heck out of it. Sorry, Flygon. It had to be done. I didn't see what he was sending in. Whalmer. Bonsly. As you guys can also see, I've kind of given up on trying not to use the speed buttons in some of these battles because it's getting to the point where I just kind of want to get through this game. But we go through all that. We go through all the prepping. We try to figure out what the heck goes best against all these Malamar decks. What could we possibly do to make the thing a little bit better? And we ended up coming up with a tech-in of a Hoopa. There's a Hoopa that can live the attacks of the main attacker in a Malamar deck, which is Giratina. And oh no, not a double battle. I purposely avoided this. Okay. Alright, you know what? We're going to switch into Snout, and we're going to Discharge. I think that's the right choice. Don't you? Oh my gosh, you went for Power Gem on Porygon. That would have been a disaster if they went for that towards Snout. That could have potentially been devastating to our poor little guy. Alright, so we know the thing has Power Gem. So I definitely am not sticking in on that. And we'll... we will... Actually, you know what? Let's... we could probably take 1 Power Gem. Let's Avalanche and Signal Beam. Right, well, hopefully you won't be living for 3 more turns. Okay, yeah, Avalanche took it out. So we finally get to the tournament, and I knew it's like the one thing that I really can't... I have a really hard time winning is the Malamar matchups. So we get to the DC, we start the tournament, and I don't want to feel like I'm just complaining, like, oh man, bad RNG, bad stuff, bad dice rolls and stuff like that. But I've honestly never gone through a series of Pokemon games where I felt like I've had worse luck. I ended up playing, there were 7 rounds on day 1. I ended up dropping out on the 7th round. I didn't even play the 7th round, just to give you a little spoiler about how this went. My very first game, I tied, because it's a 50-minute time limit. You're supposed to play best 2 out of 3. If time expires and you're still, especially if you're on game 3 and a time expires, then it's a tie. Unless you, a better explanation of how it works is, so you do best 2 out of 3. If time expires and you're on game 3, or if you're on game 2 to a certain extent, but it's more relevant when you're on game 3. Also, this is Dupe's Claws, thankfully, so we'll be able to kill this Nuzleaf. Ooh, Sky Uppercut. 85, 90 damage. Nah, I like Drain Punch more. So let's say time expires, you're on game 3. The game then goes into a 3-turn game. Cricketoon, Mustache Boy. Alright, we'll see what we can do with that. So the person who's playing when time expires has turn 0. Then after that, it goes turn 1, turn 2, and turn 3. So essentially, after time expires, both players get 2 turns. If you can win within that 2 turns, fantastic. If you can't, then the game becomes a tie at that point. And my first game was a... I'm somehow getting through this with nothing dying. I don't know how, because I've completely not focused at all. I've gone so long since I didn't have to focus that I've forgotten how to, like, not pay attention and talk at the same time. Or pay attention and talk at the same time. Stay in my ball, man. Just stay in the ball. That's all I want. Oh, come on, you're a Cricketune. You're a gosh darn Cricketune. Oh, okay, you're a very mean Cricketune. You're a very angry Cricketune. You know what? I understand. I probably said some harsh things about your family. That was completely unnecessary. I realize that in hindsight. I should have been more courteous with... But was that a third critical hit? Was that a third critical hit? That was 3 critical hits I'm pretty sure they got in a row. That's ridiculous. Just stay in the ball, Cricketune. Honestly, I don't even know if I'm ever even going to use you, but I feel like I have to technically keep you around. Okay, I am very scared of critical hits now. I very much don't want to lose Cotton to a random freaking Cricketune of all things who just gets a bunch of critical hits. Critical Tune? Critical Tune? Critical Tune? Cricketal Tune? Cricketal Tune. Critical. I'm gonna make this work somehow. I'm gonna call it Cricketal. If I could figure out if that's even a word. Cricketal. Cricketal. Sure. Cricketal. Well, we'll call that, I guess, a name. But yeah, the tournament I'll just say this, it went horrible. I went 0-4-6, meaning I lost 4 games, I tied 2, and I won 0 games. It was not good. I'll leave it at that for now as a little suggestion to tell you guys how bad the tournament went. One of my matchups was against Pikachu and Zekrom, which should, in theory, be a darn near automatic win for me, being that I am... Gosh, I really miss having a water type right now. Because I can't go into Snout, because Snout's weak to fire. Crap. Alright, we'll figure this out. So I should have, like, pretty much an automatic win against Pikachu and Zekrom. The problem is, I didn't win. There's very few things that can go wrong that would cause me to lose that game, and somehow those managed to happen. The first game, I prized 2 of my Breilooms. Breloom is so important in that game. For you guys don't know anything about the TCG, you start out, you draw your 7 cards, you put down your Pokemon, and then you put down 6 prize cards. You win by taking all your prize cards, and you get a prize card by knocking out a Pokemon. Some Pokemon, like Pokemon GX, will let you take 2 prize cards at once, while Tag Team Pokemon let you take 3 prize cards at once. So, I only have to knock out... Why do I keep getting in these double battles? I only have to knock out 2 Pikachu and Zekrom. That's it. That's all I have to do. He has to knock out 6 of my Pokemon in order to win. And I can knock out Pikachu and Zekrom in just 1 hit. So it is a very, very, very good matchup for me. The problem is, 2 of my Breloom were prized. So I think I finally managed to get 1 Breloom out. And he killed it before I ever had a chance to attack. So... Gosh, it was not a good situation, and in my second game against him, because it is best 2 out of 3, I went first. I only ever managed to get 1 basic Pokemon out, unfortunately. Oh, heck yeah, we'll take Thunderbolt. Well, what is Discharge? 80 with the high chance to paralyze, 90, 10% chance to paralyze. Yeah, I'd rather have the 90 damage. Paralysis hasn't been that useful so far in this series. I'm going to regret saying that, I realize, but... What are you going to do? So I went first in the second game, and I only ever managed to get 1 Pokemon out. I got out a Shroomish. That's it. I had nothing on my bench. I had no other Pokemon. Not a good turn. And on his first turn, he was able to attack, because if you go second, you can attack on your first turn. So he attacked, he knocked me out, and because I had no other Pokemon in play, he just immediately won the game. So what should be my best matchup, a matchup that's darn near impossible to lose, I lost in 1 turn. So that's just to give you guys a little, like, a little lowdown on how this stuff went for me, unfortunately. Oh, nice, we got the freeze. it was not a good day, unfortunately. But I think the worst part is... Whoa, wait, that was a life orb? Ooh, that is very interesting. I might have to give that to somebody. The worst part is that why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? Okay, hold on. Why not? I gotta be really careful here. What do you move? Do you also have Leech Seed? You have Leech Seed as well. Okay, we're gonna let Eric handle this with Leech Seed. And then we're just gonna set up some Toxic Spikes. I can't risk not killing this thing. Okay, let's go for Mirror Coat. Once it gets low enough, we can go for like Sludge Bomb and try to kill. But I am not risking this thing living something and then Mirror Coating me. That would be silly of me. Alright, he's dead this turn. Okay. I am not freaking losing a Pokemon to a why not. That is the absolute worst way to lose a Pokemon. So, wait, you battle me? What? I came in here thinking you were gonna sell me cool things. Aw. Oh, that's right. You're freaking everything's a fairy type now. So yeah, I think the worst part though is about both the DC Open and the regionals, and this, what I've competed at is it almost feels like an inhumane situation because you have 7 50-minute rounds, and there's usually maybe 5 minutes between rounds. If you go to time limit, you're pretty much getting like 5 minutes to just kind of stand up for a second, find your next table before the next round begins. There is no lunch break. So our tournament started at 9, and the last round finished after 6 p.m. So if you don't have breakfast that day, if you forget to take breakfast because you're having a busy morning, make sure you get at the arena in time. You could be in trouble. You could be in a lot of trouble because then you're in a situation where all of a sudden, I am not doing this double battle, you're having to go basically all day with no food. There's no water fountains at the convention center in Washington, D.C., so the only way you'd be able to get a drink is to leave the venue, which you obviously can't do in that time frame, or go to one of the little restaurants there where the bottles of water are like $5 each. A single Rockstar was $7. Absolutely atrocious. And if you don't think to bring your own water, because you can bring your own water into the venue, but if you don't think to do that, and if you don't have the money to be buying all that stuff, you're essentially going that whole day in a hot venue, playing all those games while dehydrated. It is a very, very, very... I hate to say it, but the experience itself is kind of miserable as far as the impact on the health of the players. It did frustrate me that I saw the staff table at one point because they have a big table for the staff, and it was just stacked high with different sodas. I mean, like, oh, come on, these guys get all the sodas, and I'm here just basically dying of dehydration. That's lovely. So from that experience, it was really horrible because by the end of the day, I had just one of the worst headaches I've ever had in my entire life. And then I had to walk a mile back to my hotel. And then I had... I drank like way too much water at once because I basically didn't have any water all day. That I got carried away. I drank way too much water at once, and I gave myself a horrible stomach ache, and I was basically really, really sick that night. So, as much as I love playing Pokemon, the experience itself, I've never had such a bad string of luck before. I honestly didn't even feel like I made any bad plays in the tournament. It just felt like I don't know who to send into the Lanoon who won't kill it. It just felt like bad luck non-stop all day. The environment in which these tournaments take place in is absolutely... I mean, it's horrible for the players. It is really, really rough on the players. Like, the tournaments are too long. But I know it has to be that way because there was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. There was at least 600 to 700 people in my tournament. There was so many they had to split the tournament into two. So there was well over at least like 12 to 1,300 people competing in this. So they need several rounds of Swiss rounds, and they need all these people, and I get that. But it's too long. There should at least be like water fountains or something there. I do have a lot of complaints. So while I do really want to go to Worlds next year because it's taking place in London, and I know a lot of people who want to plan on attending, and we're going to have hopefully this really cool Team Caterpie meetup. At the same time, I honestly just don't know if I want to go in that environment again and in a competition. Like, if I go there, I almost just want to go as a spectator, because it was very, very brutal as a player to compete in a tournament of that length. And man, I just don't recommend it. But that is my little rant for today. I wanted to tell you guys about my Worlds experience, and I'm glad that we just had a chance to hang out for a bit, catch the Pokemon. A very chilled episode of Renegade Platinum, thankfully. Hopefully I didn't bore you guys with my Worlds competition discussion, and if you're interested in more TCG discussion, make sure to check out the Victory Star podcast. A link is down in the description, and a new episode is uploading very, very soon after our very long hiatus. So thank you guys for coming and hanging out with me for a little bit. Thankfully nobody died. I hate Breloom now, but I hope ours doesn't die anytime soon. And I'm Hardy Tech Yo-Yo. Peace?